All right, and we're back on another episode of Salient Points. This one's 133 for January 10th, 2024, the first episode of the year. So happy New Year to everybody. I'm Carlos Macias, the master of what, Dalan?
I don't know right now, man. You're asking the wrong person.
Dalan, you know we're like 10 days into the new year, man. I mean, it's not like it's just fresh off a holiday or nothing, you know.
If you hadn't noticed.
Yeah, that's
like
like
we're supposed to do this episode sooner, so yeah. I apologize to any fans out there.
Don't dox yourself, man. Don't dox yourself.
I'm not. I'm just gonna say the hold up was me.
All right, but that's fine.
The king of icy streets.
Yeah, the icy streets. He's up in the mountains. It's kind of cold. There's a ice situation going on, so we understand, Dalan. But yeah, Carlos Macias, the master of Don't Ask Me right now, Macias.
Don't ask me, Macias.
Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountain. Thank you for joining us, sir. Hope you're staying safe up in those icy conditions. Put the chains on.
As safe as can be.
This camera is like zooming in and out on blurry, not blurry, so that's great. But
it doesn't know what you want to be.
It doesn't know. Deo Blas, the king of Mid Bay, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey y'all, happy New Year, everybody.
I don't think you've announced anything. I won't do it. I won't force you to or anything like that. But it's looking a little cleaner back there in your background. It looks like you might be getting rid of some stuff.
No. He did inform us that he's moving rooms.
Okay.
Yes.
He put it on wax, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
All right.
There's a whole section you never see, and that's all used to be boxes, and now it's all gone. But all of these are starting to go too.
All right. We'll keep it like that. We also have. Thank you for joining us, sir. We also have Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you, sir. Today is, of course, the episode that we talk about the game of the year. We don't do the wacky. You know, people online, you see them like, oh, the list of top 5 games, and that's kind of what we do as well. But we do a EGM style. It's kind of a throwback to the EGM days. Deo, I don't know if you remember, but they weighted their scores. So the top 3 is kind of like, okay, whichever game gets the most points is kind of the game of the year. So I like EGM. It hits close to home, I suppose. But we're gonna do the Wackies, of course. Those are kind of like non-standard awards, which I was like, some of these they're not so super wacky, but we throw some in there as well, so you guys can have fun with those. But yeah, Happy New Year. We'll get right to it. The first award that we're going to be giving out, of course, is the 20XX game of 2023. And I always say 20XX, but it can really be like a 92 Donkey Kong or whatever, or whenever that game came out. It's just a 20XX game that basically you played in 2023 that you just got around to this past year. Dalan, we'll start with you. You have like 4 of them, man. You got to pick... Let's do runners up. What's your runner up, and what's the one that you're like? This
I honestly played a bunch of older games this year because that backlog is real. I'm trying to get my backlog a little bit.
You're giving us one though, right? Give us the runners up, and then give us the one that you're like, this was my jam last year.
So runners up, I played Bayonetta 1 finally. That was excellent. Sifu, because I've been meaning to get around to it. That game is definitely fun. And
you haven't beaten it though. You haven't beaten it though.
I got all the way to the end. All right, it was enough gameplay.
Unlike
Carlos,
myself, I beat that game. I completely beat that game. Say what you're gonna say, Dalan. Say what you're gonna say.
You beat it. All right, fine. You beat it on easy mode, and you just breezed through the story.
Still beat it.
That was trust me, Lise. That was my retort. I was waiting to see what he was gonna say about you beat it on easy. I'm like, oh, what about that platinum? What does that platinum say, Dalan, on that Sifu?
It says platinum easy.
But we could go on from that. Okay, Sifu.
All right, so thanks to you, I also played that little shadow drop Prodeus, because I didn't even know about that game, and it was way more fun than I expected it to be. But my number one game last year that was at the top of like older games that I had played was Vampire Survivors. That game was way too fun.
But I think
it's local co-op.
But I think Vampire.
It is fun.
Are you sure that came out before 2023?
I think it was like a 2021 game, as a matter of fact.
I don't know. I think that came out on but whatever.
Now you're gonna make me
I think even Prodeus might have dropped. Maybe Ghostrunner. Ghostrunner 2 came out last year. But you can look it up. I mean, I'm just trying to discredit your award here.
No, I will say this: that for the other game, the Prodeus, that one came out in 2021 for sure. I looked that up.
And Ghostrunner did too.
also came out in 2021.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so valid award. Valid Wacky Award. Luis, I guess you didn't play too much, or is there one that you thinking of while Dale talks about his maybe? Okay, Luis has his award has appeared. His award has appeared.
It's a
I'm gonna do this for all of them, Carlos. They all say redacted if I have something to put in.
You're doing the usual Carlos thing where it's like you guys. Okay, I got you. My bad. Now I understand. I thought you were saying
if
no.
If I have nothing, it says no or NA.
Okay.
If I have something, it says redacted, and I'll
pop it in real time.
My bad. Okay, my
you
mistake.
Should know.
My mistake. All right, so Luis, what is your 20XX game of 2023?
I cannot say enough good things about Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm mostly upset that it took me so long to play that game, honestly. And the only complaint I have about it, which honestly doesn't matter all that much because the rest of the game is so good, is that the story is kind of trash. But the entire rest of the game just holds it up so much higher than the story that it's like, I don't even care that the story sucks, honestly.
I think we talked about this like throughout the entire year, didn't we? Every time it came up, we're like, the side stories are excellent. The gameplay is excellent. That main story, so forgettable. I forgot I was even like looking for my sister. It was just, what? Who is this girl?
There you go. There you go. Okay, that's a good one. I like, and that one did come out not in 23. As well.
It came out 22.
Okay.
22,
yeah.
It's a criteria.
You're gonna say and?
I will say that there's the DLC. I forget what the exact full name, but it's a DLC that comes with the version that's on PlayStation Plus the Premium or whatever it is. I think it's called the Spider's Web or the Spider's Den.
Yes.
There's an expansion mission on there that on its own I think is worth playing. Like if you don't play the rest of the game and you just play that, which is basically you going into a haunted school and crazy shit happens.
Okay.
Go ahead and play that.
Those side quests, man. That's what it is.
Hey, I got my homework. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that. At some point, there's just so many games. There's so many games out there, man. And 23 was hot, man. It was hot with a lot of games. Anything else on that, Luis? It's your 20XX game, 2023. Dale, what is your 20XX game of 2023?
Well, I have two runners up first.
Okay.
First one I was going to talk about, since we're on the same topic anyways, Ghostwire Tokyo. Phenomenal game. Tango Gameworks got it like right with that one, with the feel of like Tokyo and like the spiritual likeness of like Japanese culture and everything like that. That's how it's like. So like everything that Luis said is completely true. Same thing with Dalan.
Down to the streets, you were there.
Yeah, you were there. You were doing the Ninpo thing and everything. It was awesome. The second runner-up for me is Zelda: A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, which came out a decade ago.
A little while.
As a handheld game. The artwork holds up. The puzzles hold up. It's super frictionless. Even though it gives you a little bit of choice, there's still a little bit of linearity. You just get to choose what kind of linearity you get to go through. And the story is actually memorable for like a Zelda game, which I don't remember a lot of the stories. Like maybe Wind Waker I'll remember, but the majority of Zelda games I never remember like what the hell's going on. All I know is I have to save the princess. That's all.
Look, we've been stuck with these open world games, and I think even Nintendo has said like this is the kind of game we're gonna make going forward, open world Zelda. So to me, and I have that game hanging around. It's actually under my bed along with my 3DS and other portable games. It's there, and it comes with the little 3D film, right? Not just the game that you put in 3D for the 3DS.
That's what makes it really interesting
package.
Too. Yeah, it's all part of that. Like the 3D-ness of it, like the hologram effect that you get when you play on a handheld like the 3DS, it all adds to this like immersion factor that you don't get a lot of the time, which is something that I never like thought I would miss playing a 3DS, but I did after playing that game. Yeah,
dude, 24. You guys are already, man. Ghostwire Tokyo, I've been promising it, and Zelda: Link Between Worlds, but you guys are already adding to 24 backlog, man. Right. I gotta hit some of this. My 20XX game of 20. Oh no, go continue, please. Please.
Oh, those are my runners up, man.
Damn. Okay, I'm seeing.
All right.
Okay.
He's not paying attention.
Okay.
My number one.
It's been a while since we did this thing, man. It's been like 7 months.
Which is gonna be like probably one of my favorite JRPGs of all time is Persona 5 Royal, and I never thought I would get into that game because it's so freaking long. Yeah. But it didn't feel like a slog. I mean, yeah, you have to grind
Told
and
you.
whatever like that, but it just like
You barely feel it though.
time melts. Time melts with that game. It's incredible. I played it on 4 different devices to get it done. And thanks to Game Pass or Ultimate or whatever, I was able to play it on my PC, my Steam Deck, my phone, and my console. And I was just whittling away at it, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So, yeah,
is this the one that's going off of Game Pass, or it already went off of Game Pass, or no, it's still there?
No,
are
no, I think Persona 3 and Persona 4 are gonna leave.
Yeah,
soon.
Yeah, okay. So look at because I remember, I don't know if it was about this one or one, but I think Wario64 put out, was like, if you don't take a break and don't do anything else, you have enough time before it leaves Game Pass. He was talking about one of the Personas. I don't know if it was this one. It was like,
It's like you got just enough
you
time
got
to
2
beat
weeks
this
of
game.
if you don't take no breaks, no sleep, no eating, no nothing.
No, you gotta enjoy it though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing.
Even if you have to pay for it. You played on Game Pass, but you would buy it knowing the experience that you had. You would buy it. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. No. I mean, I own it. Like, I own 4 different versions of it, like on PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch, and Xbox.
Yeah. I own different versions of Persona, like 3 Golden on Vita. Have not beaten not one of them, but I have different versions of these games, like across time or whatever. But okay, anything else on that one, on Persona?
Nope,
that's the
that's
one.
it.
Yeah, my 20XX game of 2023. I just played it, and it's really kind of like I was getting set up. I told you guys before, you guys know this, but my brain is kind of broken. You don't need to play Control. You don't need to play Fortnite's Alan Wake flashback to enjoy Alan Wake 2, but I did. I went back to Control to play it. I had barely enough time to like play any games. Like, let me go to Control really quick. But I will say this. Control does give you a nice little background to Alan Wake 2. If you play Alan Wake 2, it's like they actually reference it. Not only reference it, but there's like characters that were in Control. It's like it's the Remedy-verse. It's the Remedy-verse is going on. But you don't need it to enjoy Alan Wake 2, but I appreciated it, and it kind of was my 20XX game of 2023. I played like the first level or two back when it came out and never went back, and it's like, okay, yeah, let me play through it. It does overstay its welcome, I will say that. If you play I tried to play through the DLC, and at some point I rage quit. I was like, you know what, I don't care if I don't get this context for Alan Wake 2. I just don't want to play it anymore. So the DLC kind of overstays its welcome, but Control was nice. It's really nice. The shooting is pretty nice. It's good. It's a weird gun. It's not a real gun. It's a gun that reconfigures or something like that into sort of a shotgun and a pistol. But I definitely recommend it. Maybe the DLC not so much. I think you guys are good enough just playing regular Control if you're interested in it. But yeah, that would be my game of 20XX game of 2023. We'll go to the next one. 2023's biggest surprise. We'll kind of keep it in the same order. Dalan, what is your biggest surprise of 2023, sir?
All right, I got a couple of runner-ups too. So very briefly, I'm not going to delve into them, but the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was a huge surprise to me of how good it is. That was a major surprise to me. I'm still playing it because the game just came out in December, but still a good game. I know we've talked about it a couple of times here on We Got Comms. Another one that Shadow dropped at the time when it happened was Hi-Fi Rush. And that was super excellent. Nobody knew it was coming. Honestly, that was almost my top one. But then I played Sea of Stars, man. That is my number one for this year, for 2023, because I was a huge RPG fan. I did not know it was going to be that good. I played the demo, and then I was super excited about it. My hype level went way up, and then I actually played the game. The hype level just stayed at the top the whole time. So that was
they got the private servers now that we can. I'm kind of interested in that, where you don't get trolled, right? Or the potential of getting trolled goes down. Sea of Thieves, the private servers.
Ain't nobody talking about Sea of Thieves.
Oh. I thought you said Sea of Stars. Oh.
I was like, servers? What are we talking about?
I'm keeping track of things. I don't know if I put this on the
Rip that sheet up. Rip it up.
I'm keeping track of things. And I was like, actually, you know what's funny, Dan? I was about to say, like, that didn't come out in 23 either. But that's also, I gotta throw that in the backlog as well, man. There's so much stuff.
Man,
go continue, Dan. My bad.
It was an excellent RPG. Just if you liked, man, now you got me like offset because you're talking about Sea of Thieves. No, what was that RPG that came out on Super Nintendo there? But Chrono Trigger. If you like Chrono Trigger, this is very much right up that line. Like you feel like you're playing Chrono Trigger Part 2. This is straight up the spiritual successor for Chrono Trigger. And everybody who plays RPGs should play this game, and you would love it. This game knew exactly what it wanted to be. It makes jokes about itself the whole time.
There you go. There we go. That's one that's also like, I think I even upped my PlayStation Plus to get that game, and it came out, in September or something like that, or in August?
Yeah, and I platinumed it.
So there's definitely, like, I bought a Plus Supreme for it and have not played it, so that's unfortunate.
Out,
Luis, what do you got? What's your 2023's biggest surprise here?
Dalan already mentioned it, but...
Luis, you went low.
You got low.
You went low on your audio. I'm not sure. You're
I
back.
changed the wrong one.
You're back.
There you go.
I think you're back. Yeah, he's back.
I turned it down because I was cracking one of these open, and
this is real life.
Reasonable.
I turned up the wrong input. But Dalan already mentioned it. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. That was my biggest surprise, and I do remember us a few months ago during a podcast. We were talking about, I think, the Blast Radius and Holiday kind of season came up. And Dalan mentioned, because there's so many games coming out this year. And he mentioned, like, the ones you would think of. He's like, Call of Duty, we got this coming out, and then Avatar. And Carlos and I both audibly started laughing when he said that. We're like, Avatar, what are you talking about? But, come release date, for whatever reason, I don't know if I was in a good mood or what, and I was like, $70.
Sounds okay.
Fuck it, day one. Fuck it, day one, let's go.
Yeah.
This was before I knew that they were using AMD technology instead of NVIDIA, but we won't go there.
We won't judge it too closely for that.
I mean, honestly, this game in every aspect, it surprised the hell out of me. Like the world exploration, the enemies, the audio, the animation is pretty awesome. I love the way they designed the UI. The crafting system is a pain in the ass just because it's so difficult to get the things that, if you want like the best gear and the best food and all that stuff. It is a pain in the ass to go look for it in the world and try to find like the best things and hunt and forage the best things. Because even just for like things in the world, if you're grabbing like a fruit off a tree, it matters like the time of day, the weather, how you pick it off of the tree. So it is very like intense.
It's Far Cry. It's I think you said you haven't played those
really
or not, but
Far Cry,
yeah,
so
but it's basically as they kind of took the Ubisoft, because it has a little taste of Assassin's Creed as well, but Far Cry, I think it's very much like it's a Far Cry game, but with bows and with blue people in it.
I will say though, one, if Avatar were to not exist as like a franchise, and you were to remove sort of all that and replace the characters and all that with other things, this game would still stand on its own. Like it doesn't rely on the whole Avatar sort of world to be like a good game. So to
it
me,
just adds to it.
That's really what it is. Just supplemental, like, okay, so that's what this creature is, that's what this part of the world is, that's what there's like more clans that they haven't mentioned yet that are like around the world. So hands down Avatar for me.
I'm cutting in line here, Deo, and you're gonna find out pretty soon. But yeah, my runners up for 2023's biggest surprise, of course, is Dead Island 2 was kind of nice. Specifically co-op. Anything in co-op just makes things better. It'll take a 2 to a 5.5 or a 6, all right? Just to have, you're having fun with your buddies, you're playing co-op. Me and Dalan played Dead Island 2 co-op. Especially my funnest moment, I think I might have put it on Wax when the day after, whenever we talked about it, was that there's one trophy in the game where it's like, shoot a zombie or throw a zombie from like 30 yards away, throw something at it and kill it. 30 meters. And I was like, Dalan, go stand over there. It doesn't tell me how far it is, but if you stand over there next to the zombie I'm trying to hit, like I can measure the 30 meters. It'll tell you then, not if you're trying to throw. So had a little bit of fun with that. I was surprised that I liked Street Fighter 6, man. Any Street Fighters, I know when we met up in real IRL, Dale, kind of beat you a little bit. That might you might think I'm better at Street Fighter than I am. I'm not. I'm really not.
Okay, Grandpa.
I'm not good at Street Fighter.
Okay, boomer.
Hey, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast, but you could just mash your way through those games, man. You can really like press all the buttons. But you know what I'm saying is I'm not good at any Street Fighter game ever. Street Fighter 6 is the one that's like, okay, this is kind of cool. I kind of like the system. I can beat Dalan. That's the key. But I can beat him if he doesn't practice. If he ever practices, I feel like, Dalan, I don't want to play with you anymore. But it surprised me how good, how fluid, how fast, how nice that game is. They did something special with Street Fighter 6. So that surprised me how good I thought it was. Assassin's... I'm sorry? Pro Tour? Or
World Tour?
Oh, World Tour is trash. World Tour is trash, man. World Tour is a trash mode. Yeah, World Tour.
That shouldn't have been in it.
It's just such a trash mode, dude. It's like they took like Mortal Kombat 1, right? And it's like they're doing story. We can kind of do a story, but worse and more grindy. And it was just terrible. The World Tour more is terrible. Assassin's Creed Mirage, I think the more surprising thing is I finally beat an Assassin's Creed. The last time I beat one was, I think, Assassin's Creed 2. I think was the last one, so it's been a while. And I think I beat this one because it was about 15 hours. So it's a short one. It's even on the short side. But I had fun enough. I feel like that's as much fun as I can have with an Assassin's Creed, though, to be honest. So I was like, 15 hours. I had platinumed it as well, so the platinum is doable. But this is why I cut in line. The biggest surprise for me is Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora as well, man. Just the fact it surprised me. The quality of the game is pretty high up there. The only thing is I still haven't unlocked co-op because I'm like,
how did you not unlock co-op?
I know it's like 4 or 5 hours in, man. It's not like the very first thing
it's
you
not
get.
even 4 or 5 hours in, man.
Okay, 3. I'll meet you in the middle, Dylan. 3 hours. It was
you were out there just checking out the forest.
Whatever it was.
The rivers.
No,
you were not doing the story. Whatever.
Critical Path, man. I was trying to Critical Path for sure, and it was still taking too long. Whatever
Carlos,
it was.
I'm gonna ask you because this is Avatar lore. And it's not exactly a spoiler. Have you been to the home tree?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
If you've been to home tree, you unlocked co-op.
You're asking me
as soon as you get the home tree.
Look, the moral of the story it is the biggest surprise because I didn't have high expectations for it. But once it started to reveal itself, I was like, this is a fucking Far Cry game. I was like, it's good, and I'm going to go back to it, and we're going to co-op it, Dalan. But I knew, because I was trying to play for Game of the Year nomination, for the thing we're doing right now, that I was like, I'm going to put it aside. It's not high enough. Not that it's not high enough quality. Well, yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. It wasn't high enough quality to be like a top 3 game for me. But it is high quality, and it is surprising. It is surprising.
Co-op is cross-platform, by the way.
Ooh.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, look, 2024, new year, new me. And I'll, now that we're doing the Game of the Years, I'm not considering nominations. Those decisions are locked. And we did a top 3. This year, by the way, it's the top 3. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was my big surprise of the year. Dale, we'll go with you, man. What are your biggest surprises?
So, I don't know. Like, I have a tie between these two because I was surprised at how good they were. And one of them is Street Fighter 6, definitely, because I hated Street Fighter 5. It was only on PlayStation, and it was more less defensive and more offensive, like the way that the combat worked out, and managing all the meters and the weird wacky, like each individual character had different kind of meters and everything. It was so messed up, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. Street Fighter 6, however, is it's multi-platform. It has rollback netcode. It has a single player mode, which is not the greatest, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take Shenmue fighting game. It's fine. I'll take Shenmue 1 fighting.
I wish it was as good as that. I wish it was as good as that. That's what you're describing right there.
Right. But I had lower expectations for this because when you look at what Mortal Kombat was doing, if you look at what Tekken was doing, they were pushing their 3D and the 2D genre forward, and Street Fighter, which is the perennial winner, is wasn't doing anything, but they knocked it out of the park with Street Fighter 6. So I'm glad. I haven't been able to put as much time into it as I wanted to, but from when I was playing it, I loved every minute of it. The second one is Hi-Fi Rush, and I did only beat this on January 3rd. So it kind
it's
of
like control. It's like control for me, man. I just be. There's some recency bias a little bit, but you know,
in the envelope and overlap of 2023, I would say, and it's less than a year when it came out. So I was like, I'll include it in here. And that game is the best action game I've played in a very long time. Like, I get tired of action games like Devil May Cry 5 because it just looks so like I've done that like millions of times. Like the whole like button mashing kind of combo thing in the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 era, and I'm like, I'm totally bored with all that stuff. But Hi-Fi Rush just like does something different with it, and I'm like, I want to gush more about it, but the reason
you
why
you can. And by the way, I don't know if you're a fan, but I think one of the first songs is Black Keys song. Is that what I was like? Ooh.
No,
okay.
It's personal. It's personal.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, man. And it gives you like that sense of like kind of that Dreamcast vibe, I think, where it's like they were not giving a fuck, man. They were like, let's just do something like
this game. I had to throw it at you.
No, I was gonna play it. No, I mean, and I still gotta go back to it. I still gotta go back to that Bomb Rush. What's the Bomb Rush? I actually have it. I'm looking at it right here. I just haven't even opened the GameFly slip because I'm like, but I still gotta play that and Hi-Fi Rush. Dude, we're already starting off 2024 incorrectly, and for me, like the backlog is already like this, and we just started here. So if you had to pick one, Dale, Street Fighter 6, Hi-Fi Rush, putting you on the spot here. Which
Hi-Fi
one?
Rush.
Okay,
Hi-Fi
there
Rush.
you go. I like it.
That was the shadow drop. I don't blame you.
The shadow drop. Yeah, it was nice. It was. I think it was Tango Works as well. No, Tango
Game Works.
Yeah, same team as
Ghostwire
Turret. There you go. Dalan, we'll go with you on this next one, man. 2023's biggest disappointment. What was the biggest disappointment for you, Dalan?
So we played Payday 3, and I was sad because I was hoping it would be better than it was. They only had 10 stages in it, so that was very disappointing. I was expecting more from Assassin's Creed Mirage, but that's only because I played all the other Assassin's Creeds and I didn't want it to be run-of-the-mill. I feel like they really messed up the actual fighting part of it because they were doing perfectly fine with Assassin's Creed Origins. And then if you had Assassin's Creed Origins fighting system with the actual parkour running that they had in the older games, that would have been almost a perfect game for me. But they didn't do that. So my top disappointment in this particular case was actually Ghostrunner 2. I had played all through Ghostrunner 1 and enjoyed it, but Ghostrunner 2 was the exact same thing, but they said, with this entire excellent story that they had built, let's throw it out the window and just do something else. Had nothing to do with the original game. So first off, the story was destroyed. It was just destroyed. I did not like the way they destroyed the story in this case. And on top of that, it just felt exactly the same as part 1, but they just gave you a few extra moves. So I was like, I might as well just play Ghostrunner 1 and have more fun with that, because I had more fun with Ghostrunner 1. It was just a weird thing, and the way that it came out, it wasn't as fun. It just wasn't as fun. So it was very disappointing. I sent that game back after having it for like 2 weeks, and it sat on my counter just waiting for me to play it. Just never went back to it.
That's one to scratch off my list. I was gonna go Ghostrunner 1 and then 2, so I was like, maybe I don't want to tinker.
Nah, just play 1. Just play 1. You'll be fine.
Okay. Luis, your 2023's biggest disappointment.
So this one might come as a surprise, specifically to Carlos, I think, because he held this game in such high praise a few moments ago. But for me, Dead Island 2. Biggest disappointment.
Okay. I like it. Runner-up, though. Runner-up surprising, though. Runner-up. It wasn't a good surprise, too high. But go ahead, my bad.
The very interesting part is that it, for similar reasons, is why I put it there. Because when I was playing this game single player, I think I was in it 10, maybe 15, somewhere 10 to 15 hours, something like that, into the game single player. I was actually engaged in like the story, and not that it was a great story or whatever.
That's okay.
But just like I kind of liked hearing the characters talk and how because it was cheesy, it was wacky, but it knew what kind of game it was. The gameplay crafting was pretty good, but I will say in this particular case, I do have to just straight up place blame on Carlos for me not playing this game because after a while it's just like I don't know what we're doing anymore in the story. Why are we going here? What are we doing? I'm suddenly transported to the next scene. I don't know what's going on. So it is
Fair.
a game that I want to go back to at some point, but it for that particular reason, that the like move to
Carlos.
next segment is just like as long as one player stands in that section for long enough, it moves everybody to the next section.
It's you can do up to 4, right? Me, you, and Dalan played.
I think so.
I think we could, and it was I would try to keep that conscious an effort. Not obviously not
Yeah,
successful.
you yell at me and say we're moving on, and you were just gone.
Well,
and then I was
sometimes
getting vamped.
sometimes it was me and Dalan. So when it was me and Dalan, I didn't care. But if Lise was playing with us, I'd be like, okay, let me hang around. Dalan would do it every so often. It wasn't just me. I think Dalan would move us forward as well. But I can see that. I can see that.
I was always the one in the back. I was behind you guys. Like, where did you go?
Okay.
And then I was
Dalan was the
vamped.
guy like, hey guys, you might want to go pick this thing up over here. This is a really rare item. And then Carlos was like, they're telling us to go over here. This
I know what. I'm gonna click to this next area. All right.
So I was trying, man.
I'm wasting my time.
But I think that's fair. That's
I
fair.
do like though this made me think about this today, that there is one game where Dalan is like sets the line. He's like, do not cross. Right? Is Destiny 2, where he's just like, story mode, I'm muting you. I don't want to hear. There's a cutscene going on right now. But
I kind of do the same thing.
So that's where he draws the line. But Dead Island 2, he was just like, all right, fuck it, whatever. We're moving on to the
So Dead Island 2, we didn't help you, man. We didn't help you enjoy that game.
No,
as
you
much as
didn't help, Carlos. Just you.
I'm
Don't put me in that.
using the royal we. Royal we in this mess.
And
All
you
right.
have the crown, okay?
All
Let's
right.
move on.
Dale, what about you, man? 2023's biggest disappointment.
First runner-up for me is Forza Motorsport. I was really looking forward to that game as a racing fan and whatnot. I even bought like a racing simulator. I haven't put it together yet. I was really hoping that this would be the de facto game to like showcase my sim race rig, but it kind of fell flat. So it kind of just sits in boxes.
It sits in boxes. I hate
no
the fact
motivation
that I
to
went
build
through
it.
all this.
Dude, I bought the game. I bought all that sim rig stuff for that game primarily. But luckily, there's still Gran Turismo, so I could still utilize Gran Turismo with that rig. So it works out great. The weird thing about that is that I bought a PlayStation VR 2 to play Gran Turismo 7 in VR, and it's fantastic. But the PSVR 2 as a hardware is my number one disappointment of 2023.
Talk to the man that played for 10 minutes. I got it out of the box, played it for 10 minutes. It's not my biggest disappointment because I kind of knew that I was going to spend a lot of money to not play it a long time.
My problem
10,
with
15
it. That's my
minutes.
problem.
Yeah.
I think it's
The expectations.
I said that
Yeah.
way before it came out. I was like, I'm not buying it because I know that it's just gonna collect dust. So I just like.
But let's get to
just stick with my VR1.
Let's get to sticking to why this is an award. What's is there any specifics to that, Dale? I guess before I cut you off and Dalan cut you off.
A little bit. Like the thing that kills me about the hardware itself is fantastic. Like the way that they simplified a lot of like the extras that you had in PSVR 1 and like the non-essential stuff to streamline the experience. It's great in the PSVR 2. It does feel a little cheap, but that's fine considering how much graphic intensive tech you're getting there. But like there's not a lot of first party support, so I'm kind of disappointed in Sony for not releasing a lot of more games under their umbrella. I thought there's going to be like a Spider-Man game, or we had a Horizon game, but like I thought there's going to be like Gravity Rush or something fun. Because it happened with Gran Turismo 7. So
they did not put their stock in VR.
No, it's just like the only reason why they have it is just to put their toe into the to throw their hat in the ring and say like, we have a PSVR.
I think it might be like one of those like sunken cost fallacy type of thing. Like it's like we're not really gonna support it, but we did the R&D for it. Here it is, man. Just throw it out there. They didn't even really release it in stores either. I think it took like a couple months. We were like, oh, you can find it at Target. And I'm like, we don't care about that. It's been out. Like I ordered it online. I had to wait for it to get to my house. But I think I had try to have realistic expectations. Like I just kind of like the technology of it, and we'll see if they come out with anything cool. Like there's no reason why like one of the biggest games that came out at the very end of the last year, Asgard's Wrath 2. Why isn't that coming to PlayStation VR? Right? I know. I think it's like an Epic
Why
game or something.
Half-Life Alyx on there? I don't know.
Like there's things that they obviously they didn't even try to paint that picture, man. Like when they were saying. So to me, that's why I was like, they're not. It's PSVR had way more support. They has better collection, better library now. So
Yeah, they even had like nice demo games to tell you like with Astrobot and everything like how to play in VR and everything like that. It's just like it feels like it wasn't as supported as it should be.
Battlezone is back. You can play Tetris in this amazing way. Like that was PSVR 1. That was PSVR 1.
While you were saying this, I was thinking to myself, they probably just don't have enough developers, or they didn't put together any type of PlayStation development team for new VR games.
Damn you, Ryan, damn you.
But then I was thinking, oh man, I had the name of the game in my head, Portal 2. I would love to see Portal 2.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Make me a Portal 3. Just do one of these two things, and I assure that people will come swarm into the VR 2. Yeah, I know they don't make games anymore, but somebody owns the IP.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of those things that I think if I had set my expectations higher I think it would have been one of the more disappointing things. But for me, it was like, I know what I'm getting.
That's a low bar.
Yeah, I had a pretty low bar going into it. For me, look, I have a couple runners up that didn't really disappoint me too much because I didn't have super high expectations. But Forsaken was like a game that I was like, it's kind of not great. Atomic Heart, that looked like kind of like a BioShock type of game, and I know it was on Game Pass. But at some point, it just got frustrating. Like the combat to me wasn't fun. The story was like very run of the mill. I do have as a runner up Horizon VR a little bit because it was like, it doesn't even really have the real characters, the what's her name, Aloy or whatever. It's like secondary characters. Aloy. So that wasn't so great. Redfall was also kind of trashy. I know it was the one that we were supposed to play on Lisa's birthday. We were even like, okay, for Lisa's birthday, we're going to play this. We're going to get down with this. And it was like, we didn't even care. I don't think I even tried it until like they updated it like 3 months later or something like that, right? So it's good that it was on Game Pass.
It still wasn't great.
And the other thing, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, I know we had a nice little smoky moment. If you guys want to go back to listen to me and Lise, we kind of got into it a little bit. But to me, these are the games, Call of Duty, I've always been like, these are the blockbuster popcorn style games, and it's unfortunate that it's kind of like glorified DLC. In my opinion, IMHO, it's kind of a glorified DLC. But my most disappointing thing, Dalan, I'm a little surprised you didn't mention it though, was Destiny 2 Lightfall, man. That was like not great. The raid was good because the raids are always nice. They're always nice and good, and I think that's the best part of it, as every piece of DLC has been for Destiny. But the actual like campaign was like, this is it, huh? This is it right here. This is what we're getting.
For whatever reason, the games that we play like regularly like didn't even pop into my head. And Destiny 2 definitely, that has been out of my mind for a little while now, unfortunately, because I played through like the whole thing, and now they got that whole seasonal thing going on, and their seasons are whacker than they were last year. Because the last year's DLC, I can't remember not the Witch Queen. Was it the Witch Queen? Last year it was the Witch Queen, and that was an excellent. It had 4 excellent seasons, had a good storyline that people were able to get into, but then Lightfall dropped. Everybody was happy for about 2 seconds for that new special.
Because it's a new thing. It's a new shiny Destiny thing, right?
And then immediately after that, everybody was like, you know what? This is whack. I'm just going to go back to my other specials that are now OP.
Even the dungeon, man. Even the dungeon we didn't beat. I mean, part of it was like, I think that thing was kind of broken. I know people online beat it and all this other crap. Maybe it's that I don't upgrade my mods as I should. That probably doesn't help us to beat it. But even the dungeon was like, it's not great. It's not, it's not. At some point, I think we should beat it, right? We'll go back maybe if we can finally accomplish that. But yeah, Lightfall was unfortunately not so great, and I have high hopes that they have the time. They delayed it, but the next, what is it? The final cure, the final shape. I'm hyped. I'm ready. I'm gonna go back into it. $100, sure, Bungie, here it is.
But they postponed it to June.
Yeah, which is fine. I think. Look, if it's the final thing that they're gonna do, like, do it with the bang, and hopefully it's incredible. And I don't doubt it, even though Lightfall wasn't so great. Dalan, 2023's most broken game for you, sir. We'll go to that award next.
All right. In this, I'm going to remind you that we went back and decided that this game was going to be replayed because it was about to leave. Once again, well, actually, we're talking about most broken game, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I said it. See, don't hit me up about not hearing Sea of Stars or Sea of Oceans.
I was thinking. I was definitely thinking about a different award for a second. But no,
says it right there. Says it right there.
Yeah, we still went back a couple of times to try and do this, but every time Mortal Kombat 1's online gameplay was just so broken, it hurt. Every other aspect of that game worked perfectly and smoothly, but then you hit that online gameplay, which is what you want to do. If it was on a Switch, the whole thing was broken.
It's even worse, man. It's
even worse.
Yeah.
But I think we tried like 3 or 4 times to play online with each other. We had maybe one half a match before we got booted.
Wow, it's terrible.
And
man.
even then, it was jittery because it had no connectivity. And I still don't think they fixed it. How long has that game been out now?
And it's unfortunate, by the way, I cut the line again as well because Mortal Kombat 1 is also my most broken game. I know you said you saw like half of a match. I didn't even see half of a match, man. I saw it like load for a second, it froze, and it just didn't do anything, right? So
it kicked you out of the game.
And it's a shame. I think it's a shame because I played through the campaign. It was nice and beautiful. What Street Fighter 6 wishes, I think, or maybe what they were going for, but they obviously, to me, didn't accomplish that. But yeah, the campaign was nice as it has been. Yeah, I enjoyed the game. Otherwise, it's pretty damn good if you play it locally. If you're trying to play online, good luck finding good. I think if you play like just finding a random match, good. But if you're trying to like link up like we were, nah, man, we couldn't even finish the match. Are you done with that one, Dalan, or can we go to Luis?
Yes, I am done with that. That was an upsetting thing.
Luis, what is your 2023 most broken game, sir?
This is just because of the game I did. Like I said, I didn't play off-wax. I didn't play many new games this year, but this one just has to by default take it. Hogwarts Legacy. Not because there weren't any like game breaking bugs necessarily. There wasn't anything that like where I had to quit the game to like make it fix itself, or I lost a game save or anything like that. It was just visual kind of bugs, things that would sort of snap you out of the world that you were in. And it was a bit of a shame just because the world itself, if you're like a huge Harry Potter fan like myself, looking at the world, it's so cool to just kind of explore and look at things and mess around with stuff. So when a bug would introduce itself and you're like, oh, why is that spider freaking out? Or like, why did I just, why can't I land my broom on this roof or whatever? There was one time, the biggest bug I remember was flying on my broom after I had just cleared like let's call it a zone where these enemies were at. Start flying over it, and then out of nowhere, my broom disappears. And I start falling down to the ground.
Oh, not just like visually and the broom is still there physically. Like literally you don't have a broom physically.
I dismounted, which you're not supposed to be able to do until you get close enough to the ground. Like that's kind of the thing. Yeah. Eventually, as I was falling, 30 stories down to what I'm assuming would be death, my broom magically appeared like just before I hit the ground, almost a few feet off the ground. Yeah. But yeah, there were just a handful of things like that where it would kind of snap you out of like you trying to be immersed in the world. Yeah. But nothing. I would say it was pretty minimal. But it this one just by default has to take it for me.
Yeah,
but you did not hit the ground then, right? You landed on.
It is part of the experience. It's part of the experience. Part of the experience. That's also Hogwarts. By the way, I never really seen the Harry Potter movies. I knew it by cultural osmosis a little bit, but this game was coming out, and I watched all the movies and haven't even touched the game. Haven't even installed it or nothing, man. And it's there. It's hanging around. I have it. I have a copy of it. And I even did the prep.
Contributed to the biggest sales
I even
of the
did
year.
the prep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? 22.
J.K. Rowling got your money.
She did. We'll move on to the next one. Is 2023's most frictionless game / the Ratchet and Clank Award, because those games are smooth, man. This game is super smooth. Dalan, we'll go with you, sir. What is your most frictionless game of 2023?
For me, and I was super surprised to even say this to myself. It was gonna go on my top surprised games list, but Mario Wonder was very smooth. I don't care if you call it trash, Dale. That game was smooth.
I don't know if he said trash though. We can always go back and check the record. Or did he? He might have said.
How did you know I was thinking that?
You might have said that. I don't know. But yeah,
but that game was very smooth the entire way. Like they had the levels where you had to run like platforming really fast. They had them in like perfect spots to be able to do those type of jumps. It had full reminders of like the old school Mario World games, and the whole time I was at first. It was a fever dream you had to get used to, but once you get past that fever dream, or once you get used to it and you know what the game is, the entire game is smooth and fun. Everything about it. I never had any hiccups with that game. I had to look up like one thing online to find out a puzzle, but other than that, the game was great.
Yeah. The small amount of friction would be sometimes like, how do I get there, do that? But like the gameplay itself was super nice, man. It was very smooth. All right, Luis. Was your
are you guys just forgetting that there was like 2 episodes of Salient Points where you guys both talked about being stuck on one level for like a week?
Oh, that's the final level. That's the final level. The
entire game was frictionless. The most frictionless game of all time.
Frictionless, but that game, that even up to that point, even that level, it was still smooth. Especially if you knew how to get through it. We just sucked with the powers, man. That was user error.
How about this, Dan? I'll back you up for a second. It's not the game's fault that we sucked at that level. It's not the game's fault. It's not the game's fault. But and plus to get to that final level,
Mario, huh?
And taking
they saw the Metacritic rating or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we got to
get the Metacritic rating. I don't even know what it is.
Did he pay you for this?
Also, I wish I'll take it. I'll take all the money. But
Carlos, we got comms getting any money off of this? Are you withholding funds?
I'll disclose it if they are. I don't care, man. I don't care. I'll just.
Carlos out here taking kickbacks.
Nintendo's got deep pockets.
But remember, Mario Wonder it took me and Dalan like 2 episodes, 2 weeks of like, where's the fun in this game? And eventually we were convinced, and we were like, it's like, this is a damn good game. But it was smooth. It was smooth. I don't blame Mario for that final level that we sucked at that level. By the way, I haven't beaten it, dude. I moved on, dude. I was like, I gotta move on.
But this is also why I wanted Mario Wonder to be on my top surprise list, but I put it up frictionless. As a matter of fact, you just put it on both.
Spoilers, but whatever, Dalan. Luis, what is your most frictionless / Ratchet and Clank award for 2020?
This better not be your frictionless game, Carlos, because you just said you didn't finish the level you were stuck in. But anyway,
we'll find out.
My frictionless game, and I nominate to change this award name to the Insomniac Award. Because it's Spider-Man 2.
Fair.
Spider-Man 2 has been the most frictionless game of the year for me, which is interesting because you wouldn't think that it would be. And there were some tough boss fights, and there are definitely times where I got stuck, but it was few and far between.
Yeah.
And most of the game, it was honestly me just, like I had mentioned before, wanting to just go to the next like main mission. This was since I can remember like being a kid, being just like, what's the next part? Well, how do I go to the next part? Instead of like, let me clear this area, let me do this side quest, let me do what I just wanted to see where the story was going the whole game.
Yeah.
So I think that for that reason alone, for me, it deserves the frictionless, just because I would like the story just felt so smooth to me that I wanted to continue to keep going.
And I know like some of the stuff when I was playing the game, I as far as like it was actually challenging, I think, but it was challenging, and I was like, I'm just being lazy about it. I'm not using all the tools of my disposal, which I do in a lot of games, and a lot of games don't really promote not doing that. Like they'll let you do the same thing over and over. That's probably why I get away with not upgrading a lot of my tools and all this other stuff, because like, well, the game's letting me beat this game without upgrading, without taking actual. But Spider-Man 2 does challenge you in a way where it's like, it's not unfair, kind of like with Mario Wonder. It's not unfair necessarily. It's just you got to use your brain a little bit.
I'll piggyback off of that though, because I will say there was a moment they introduced the new mechanic, the parrying mechanic, right? And there was a good portion of the game, I'll say the first quarter of the game when they introduced it, and I was like, I don't need this thing. I'm never gonna parry. I'm not gonna get used to what parrying is until the game's like, no, but you don't understand. Like you actually need to parry sometimes.
You
and I was like,
have to. You have to do it, because there's some enemies where you have to, or you're gonna die. You will be murdered. Dale, your most frictionless game, Ratchet and Clank slash Insomniac. I kind of, I like that Insomniac Award.
Yeah, no, I'm backing up Luis. I agree. Spider-Man 2, definitely frictionless game for me for 2023. Which is ironic though, because I didn't play a lot of broken games last year, but Spider-Man 2 did crash on me twice.
I was gonna ask you about that. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
Right. There was a couple bugs, but the way that the game saves and loads up is so fast. Like fast travel is so easy in the game. Like they give you really good traversal mechanics now with the web wings and the upgrades that they give you. Same thing with the combat. And yeah, they gave you the Mary Jane levels and stuff like that, but they're a lot less annoying. There's a lot less annoying this time.
Yeah, that's where
it was just as annoying.
That's where that's where the friction peaks in a little bit.
No,
yeah.
They wanted to change it up, and I was like, I get it. You don't want to play Miles or Peter each time, so we gotta have Mary Jane part of it. And it was kind of important because like there's a part in the story bit where like you see the camaraderie between the three of them, and so it has a way more emotional impact. At the ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's like one of the best.
But you're still thinking the whole time, Mary Jane, why are you doing this? Anybody else should be doing this.
She's a reporter. She's got to do her job.
She wasn't even doing it for the reporting part. I could argue about this, but I'm not going to.
Dalan's just stuck in the lore. Dalan's just stuck in the lore. But look, it's fair. That's why Wonder for Dalan is the Insomniac Award. That's why, the one. Look, for me, and I think we're going to talk, so I'll keep this one brief because I think we're going to talk about it again later, right? And I appreciate Dylan bringing up Wonder because it was a very smooth game, but to me, it's Spider-Man 2, man, of course, the Insomniac Award for me as well. It's just too smooth. It was just a game. There's just, I don't know what it is. I don't, even back in the day, games could be frustrating. I think that was more on a difficulty level, but nowadays it's like, we're going to introduce this. We're going to do this mechanic. And it's like, I'm just going to walk away and come back later. But Spider-Man 2 wasn't like that. It was like, I want to see the next thing. Part of it is the story, but part of it is like, I'm having fun just hanging around and swinging around. And the fact that I think some of the freshness is that the fact that you have the two characters as well. So you don't get just stuck with one. And they're different vibes. They're just, they have different movements. They swing around differently, right? So they interact with different people as well. So I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it later, I feel. So I'll keep it at that brief, and then I'm sure we'll have more things to say on that. As far as we have one more wacky before the extra wackies that I like to call, but 2024's most anticipated game. Dalan, what is that? I think we might have the same one.
Well, I actually have a different anticipated game, though, even though Final Fantasy Rebirth is a huge one for, like, a lot of people. Yeah. Mine is actually Rise of the Ronin. I am waiting for that game. That game looks beautiful, and I'm ready to play it. And I know it's going to be coming out soon, so it's definitely on my list. It's already on my GameFly. I'm waiting for that game. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Prince of Persia fan. They're not doing the Prince of Persia remake that I wanted. So single tier. But Rise of the Ronin was the next best thing there, and I am very much waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean the one that's coming out, was it the Lost Crown that's coming out in a couple weeks? It's a Metroidvania, so I'll take that maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it, but I'm more excited for Rise of the Ronin.
All right, Dale, what is your anticipation? We'll cut in line, I think. Me and Dale will cut in line, I believe. Dale, what is your most anticipated game?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's one of two games I'm only going to pre-order this year. And like, man, I want to know what they're going to do with this story. They're going to go batshit crazy because the first remake is already like over the top. Yeah, and I'm like, how the heck are you going to stretch like 1 hour game into like a 30-hour game, and now you're going to have a sequel to this, and they're probably going to change stuff up just to satiate fans of the series and everything, but I don't know. I'm excited for that one. It looks great. I saw the last trailer for it. Like the combat looks phenomenal, and that's the one like head and shoulders above the rest. With the I would say Infinite Wealth as well, but
that's gotta be I think that's up there. I feel like that's up there, but yeah, I mean for me it's the same thing. We cut in line here, Luis. My bad. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well. My most anticipated thing, and I hope they do it, but they already said it's maybe about a 30-40 hour game, which I'm fine with that. That's perfect to me. For that kind of RPG, I think it's going to be great. Makes it more platinumable, or if I'm going to consider even doing the platinum, it makes it a little more doable. But my most expected thing is, or the thing that I'm hyped for, is that I hope they break the story a little bit. I hope they're like, you know what? We were giving you this, but hold on. We might break it. And they've kind of teased at it already, that they're like, it might be a little different. They even teased it at the end of the first one, and with the DLC, that they're like, what you're seeing might not be what you think it is. Very fucking kind of Kingdom Hearts. I understand that they kind of crapped the bed, and they're kind of going in that direction.
Into a dog. That's what happened.
Yeah, I understand that they could potentially crap the bed on it. But whatever, man. The combat was so fun with Final Fantasy VII Remake. At the very least, the combat will be fun, and the story, and I hope Dalan gets pissed off if they mess with the lore a little bit. That's just a plus. That's just a plus for me.
It honestly needed some fixing. Yeah. I'm just excited for the fact that it's going to be 2 discs to try and cover all this information.
3? No, they said 2. Was it 2? Yeah, because the Blu-ray, the PS5 disc holds so much, right? So the fact that oh snap. So we're kind of all hyped. 3 out of 4 on the WeGotComs .com are hyped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Luis, what are you most hyped for, sir?
Wait, why'd you say 3 out of 4?
I don't necessarily blame you guys for possibly. Wait, what?
No, what? 3 out of 4.
Because he's saying that this might be your most hyped. But I don't know.
Bro, I didn't even play the remake, so this is not even on.
Come on, Dalan. Come on.
I have it in the Saran wrap. It's right here in the Saran wrap right next to me. I have the 7.
Don't open it.
Remake.
It's worth a lot.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
There you go.
So I don't blame you guys for possibly. I'm assuming here that you forgot about this game, and especially because it has been delayed, last I heard. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Ooh,
that's got to be it for me.
Interesting.
I don't think I need to say anything more than that, honestly. It's just it looks like a cool game. I hope they pull it off. I'm excited for when it comes out, and I'm ready for when it comes out. They could take their time because, like, pretty much I think all of us here, we either have Lego sets or games that we have not, finished. So we got stuff to do.
Yeah. And did you play Gotham Knights? That's what's got me it's piqued my interest. It's still Final Fantasy, to be honest, Rebirth. But me and Dalan playing through Gotham Knights has me like, okay, maybe people crapped on it a little too much, which I think they're kind of prepping for now. If you guys have seen the previews to this, like Kotaku and all of them, they're like, this game doesn't hold up. It's doing live service. And maybe they're right, but I was like, people crapped on Gotham Knights, and I thought it was okay.
You guys did mention, though, that that was with the free version-ness going on there.
Yeah,
not
and I
still.
It was honestly a very short game, and it had some good story points, but it was just one of those things that after I was done playing it, even though I'm a huge fan of the Batman universe, that game got me less excited for Suicide Squad.
Okay, that's fair. It's sort of piqued my interest to me. Not to a super high expectation, but it's piqued my interest a little bit. That's cool. I'll play with you, Luis. If I probably
I'll play it. I'm just saying Gotham Knights was a low bar compared.
Do we know how many? Do we know how many players? I hope more than 2, because only Gotham Knights is only 2 players, but we'll see. If you, I'll wait till you want to get into the sewers, I guess. Let me know when you're ready to move on.
There's a 4-player raid mode, sir.
When I unlock, it's been 3 weeks and I haven't unlocked the Avatar call.
I'll let you guys, by the way, converse amongst yourselves. I gotta do a bio break.
Okay, all right.
This man is gone.
We'll see Luis in a little bit. But we'll go into the extra wackies. These are kind of like the wackier awards, right? This kind of stuff we come up with. Dalan, your first one, you said your first extra wacky is game that's still trash, boy. Boy spelled BOI, by the way. So the game that's still trash, boy. That's still trash. But what is that, Dalan? Please elaborate.
For whatever reason, I thought this was the award I was talking about earlier. But still, we went back to this game, and I don't know if you remember going back to this game, but we went back to play The Ascent. I don't know how many times I have to say.
You actually replayed that one again recently?
We went back to that game because it was going to be leaving the Game Pass. And out of all the games that we played through last year, The Ascent is just dust in my mouth. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
It's like eating
great.
dirt every time. You just asked me to eat a dirt pie, and I went and did it anyway. I don't know why I did this to myself.
Hey, but look, we were playing it co-op. We actually played 4-player co-op. It was me, you, and Luis playing it at the same time.
And Jonathan.
But that's what I was gonna say.
Like not get it to work. Like it would like drop you guys out.
Yeah, it would drop out sometimes. But my favorite story of that, not to say it's still not trash, but I do like that. I think me and Dalan were maybe like Dalan, and Luis maybe were like 12, 13 level. You know, we leveled up. But I remember my brother joined in the match, and he was a level 0. And immediately the enemies dropped him, so he was just kind of crawling around. You know, like Gears of War-ish, right? You start to crawl around, and this man, while he was crawling around, was leveling up, level 2, level 3, level 4. He wasn't helping us. He was just crawling around, leveling up over there, and I was like, okay. At least we got some chuckles out of it, Dalan. But they definitely did not fix what was going on with that game. That was a tough one. That was a rough one. Luis, before we move on to the next one, any remembrances of the Ascent, good or bad? Remember, you kind of joined us, and Jonathan leveled up like 10 levels just by crawling around.
Did that game come out 23?
No, but we went back to play it again, and it left Game Pass. It was the most trash boy game of the year.
Because if it did, then that one would have taken Hogwarts Legacy for sure of my most broken game, because that's all I remember from that game.
This game is so trash.
It was
That
nasty.
game was so broken, dude. There was a point in the game where this is our replay of it, by the way.
We tried it again.
We could not beat the boss. It was actually impossible to finish off the boss because like the game bugged out during a cutscene before the boss.
Oh, the boss didn't even spawn in.
Yeah.
There you go. Dale, you have one here, an extra wacky one. Game I wish I had more time for. What's that one, sir?
Because I put some time into it, but it's been so long, like in the early part of the year when this game came out. And the game I'm talking about is Wolong Fallen Dynasty, by the way.
I thought you beat that.
No, I put in a lot of hours into that, and then something came up, or other game came. I think I started playing Metroid Prime Remastered, and then so that kind of took up my time. But then it's been so long since I played that game that like I'm afraid I'm gonna be so trash at it now that I'm not gonna remember the mechanics. I'm not gonna have like the muscle memory to like react to things that happen in the game. That I'm just like I don't think I'm gonna get back to it. But I love playing it.
Yeah,
that was like.
Isn't it like Dynasty Warriors but Dead Souls-y or something like that?
No, it's Dark Souls definitely, but like it's made by the Dynasty Warriors guys.
Yeah,
isn't that what I said? Dynasty Warriors but Dark Souls.
Yeah, but the way you describe it is that Dynasty Warriors, you're on a playing field with like a ton of characters that you have to kill.
No, I'm just talking about Dark Souls. It is very Dark Souls like Dynasty Warriors.
I tried that game because it's on Game Pass. I think it's still on Game Pass, but I tried it for about like 30 minutes, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I've seen
that first boss. That first boss was nuts.
Yeah, that's true. At least the other ones have learned to try to hook you, where like the first boss is doable, and then it's like it just gets really, really hard after that.
It was to the point of frustration where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have this game beat me in the first 20 to 30 minutes of playing you. I'm gonna beat you, and that's where it hooked me. It was just so weird.
All right, so Dale, I'm gonna just throw one of my games into that same award with you. Fires of Rubicon. That's the one I'm gonna throw right there. Is the Fires of Rubicon? I can't remember the first part.
Armored Core.
Mm-hmm.
So for Armored Core, Fires of Rubicon, that is the game that I wish I had more time for. But after going through the very first stage, which was essentially the training level, that curve for that first boss was so high that I was like, nah, I ain't got time for this, or the game's coming.
There you go.
So I put it down.
There you go. That's a little add-on. I appreciate that one, Dalan.
It is a word. It's just a game that goes with it.
The next one for me, of course, is the Be More Like Final Fantasy VII Remake Award, which goes to Final Fantasy XVI. Okay, that game was fine enough. It was well put together. I kind of like the story. I think it was built up too much to be sort of like a Game of Thrones type story, where it's like, okay, you get the little motifs of it and kind of a little sense of it. There's a little bit of nudity, but they didn't really push it that hard, to be honest. And they got cheat rings, which they didn't have in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think they took a lot from that game, but if you put the cheat rings on, it doesn't help. And I took it off. I took the cheat rings on at some point, Dalan, and I was like, this is not fun. This is not a fun game for me. So to me, it's like, be more like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had fun. I beat the game. Did I platinum Final Fantasy 16? I might have even platinum this game.
You did.
Which I guess would be the
what do you mean?
which would be like the Trine 3 award as well. I didn't like Trine 3 at all. I don't know if you guys remember that game. It was a platformer game, sort of a co-op game. I platinumed that one too, and I didn't even like it. I did not like Trine 3 at all. And 16 I kind of liked though. I will say that, but and it was okay to platinum it. But yeah, be more like Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth, I guess, at this point. And this next one was Dalan, the top game no one asked for this year. What does Dalan?
Sam.
That would be it was my award.
Okay,
I'm going to give this prestigious award to Exoprimal. Nobody asked for that.
Okay.
It's just we're gonna drop dinosaurs into this world. You're gonna fight and kill with dinosaurs. That game came up and blew away in the wind like it
That was
sad.
Capcom? That was
Yeah,
Capcom.
Yeah, it was a
That's a Capcom
Capcom game. It was a sad game that got dropped, and both me and Carlos, we tried this for about 5 minutes. We were like, "All right, we know what this is. We're done."
we understand. We understand, Kale. No, please, sir. No more, please. And we, I think I promptly deleted it too. I was like, God, I've seen enough.
And it's still free on Game Pass, but I'm not gonna reinstall that game. That was the worst thing to me in that particular case. I was already disappointed just knowing it was coming, which is why it was not on my disappointed list. But nobody asked for it either.
Dinosaurs, man. You do want to shoot them, you know? But
Not
like this. Not like
at
this.
some point, Carlos.
Not like this. What's that? Is it Jurassic Park or where is it? Where it's like not like this. Oh no, The Matrix. What am I thinking? The Matrix.
Not
Where
like
he's
this.
not like this. Not like this.
Didn't
That's kind of what happened. For me, the next word I have on here is this game would basically be Game of the Year every year, but I gotta give other games chances, so it's not part of my games of the year. It's Metroid Prime Remastered. I mean, this is like my number one game of all time, man. Metroid Prime Remastered is you guys are like not surprised by this, but yes, it would be my game every year. It's incredible. And also I think part of it that I might have considered it because I did consider like Resident Evil 4. I guess that's a spoiler. That's not in my top games, but because they did so much to it, they actually like cleaned it up, and you would think, well, Resident Evil 4 was kind of modern, but Metroid Prime Remastered, it plays great. I still feel like the controls, they kind of cleaned them up a little bit, but they didn't do too much. But even so, like it kind of further proves to me, like this is still one of my favorite games.
They did enough to make you want to read the notes.
I read the notes this time. I read the notes this time.
Metroid was coming too.
Made the story better, and I was like, "Oh shit! What was I doing as a child? I definitely don't remember this context. I'll definitely just shooting random shit, like opening doors." And I thought that was amazing. So the fact that I got some more context this time around, it's such an incredible game, man. That would be my game of the year every year. But I'll give other games a chance. Dalan, you have one more here before we get into our pretty much our games of the year here.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's going on the back burner. I mean, I partially said my runner-up, which was Fires of Rubicon, because it's not a bad game, but definitely on the back burner. But my number one in this particular case happened to be The Lies of P. That game, it was honestly, it's not a bad game. Not saying it's a bad game, but too much. The backlog is real. I should rename this word. The backlog is real.
You just made it up, and you're gonna remake it.
Yeah, I
That's
just made
fair.
it up. I know.
That's
I keep
fair.
switching. There's so many good names for this particular award. It's that game that is not bad, and you want to get to, but I'm just gonna set it aside. I know it's good. I know where it's at. But
my favorite thing about Lies of P is the fact that they went back and made the game easier. The developers were like, "We got you. We want you to play through it. Please play through it. We're gonna make it easier." And I think they might have done like 2 passes on the easy. Like they might have gone once and then again. Okay, it's still hard. Let's make it easier. I was like, well. That's what happens.
Hey, the game won some awards at the VGAs, so there's got to be something good about it.
There you go. All right.